Hi, my name is Patience, and with me here is Oluchi. We are students of Developmental Services Worker, Cambrian College. So today we'll be looking at a case study of Liam, and today we are talking about the case study of Liam in the course DSW 1225 Crisis Management and Prevention. So stay tuned as we watch. Okay, so Liam is an adult male. He suffers physical limitations and intellectual disabilities. Liam lives in a stays in a group home, a residential group home, a residential program, and he has physical limitations, like I said, and intellectual disabilities. Liam hardly initiates communication. He has his prime counselor in the person of Colin, who has worked in the group for 18 months. Colin is a full-time direct support professional. And so on this day, Liam has his hobbies, like he loves watching football, hockey, and then what else?
He likes chicken fingers with fries.
Okay, so those are some of his likes. And so on this day, his direct support professional Colin volunteers to take him out in an unscheduled work shift. And while they went out, a community member called the manager of the group and made a report saying she saw an adult male dragging the arm of Liam. And all this went out. So now we have a couple of questions that arose after this incident. Yeah, as you all know, Liam is echolalic in the sense that he is autistic, and most autistic people are echolalic. He repeats every sentence. Whatever you say is going to repeat after you. So this makes it difficult for him to communicate or even recognize when he's being mistreated. So now, after this report has been made to the manager of the group residential program, he called on when asked Liam what happened, the only thing Liam could say was to re-echo the last word he heard, which is, "It's over, stupid." That was what he said. And when they called upon Colin was nervous, he was anxious. He wasn't really focused on answering the questions, but rather he was concerned about, what did the witness say? What did Liam say? So now we have some questions and we want to share with you guys, so you can learn about this case study and how abuse should be managed. Now I have my first question here. It says, identify and explain through at least 3 factors that made Liam vulnerable to being abused.
Okay, first of all, one of the factors that shows that Liam is vulnerable to be abused is his intellectual disability. This affects his cognitive functions and reasoning. He has difficult to understand complex situations and is unable to identify when he's being treated badly.
Yeah, this makes it difficult for him to even recognize being mistreated. Then also he has physical limitations. Liam relies solely on people for mobility. And in this case, the person who he relies on is Colin. So in that case, he's exposed. It creates opportunity for him to be mistreated. Since he cannot move, and then he cannot even, if he's being mistreated, physically abused, he cannot fight back,
Okay, yeah. The third one is limitation in communication, because he cannot explain what has happened to him. He repeated what's been asked, he still repeats it. So there's a limitation in communication which can make him vulnerable to be abused.
Yeah, so this brings me to the next question. It says, identify and explain 3 factors that made Colin vulnerable to being accused of abused. Okay. Sorry. Let me just say one. I'll start by saying this unscheduled work shift. Okay, so in the first instance, Colin wasn't scheduled to work on that particular day, and so this creates room for suspicions, right? His activities were not documented, nothing was filled in the log notes. So now, and also, Colin was nervous, right? Colin was very nervous. He was anxious when being asked about what happened. Rather than explaining, he was more concerned about, what was the reaction for Leanne? What was the reaction? What was said from the witness who witnessed it all?
Yes, and also...
And that's a sign of guilt.
Yeah, and also interrupting. He always interrupts on the question whenever being asked. Then thirdly, the report from the community members, because they are the major witness.
Yeah.
And they are the one that can say this is really what happened.
Okay. So now we move to the next question. It says, reflecting on what you have learned, identify the types of abuse that could have occurred. Even if you do not consider it abuse, answer the question by also providing the definition of the types of abuse that could have occurred.
Okay, first of all, I see it as an abuse because one, there is a physical abuse. Thereby pulling his hands is an abuse on Leanne.
Yeah. So let's talk about abuse itself. Abuse is a misuse of power in any form. And in this case, Colin abused Liam physically by pulling his arm. Knowing fully well Liam is vulnerable, he couldn't fight back. And then he called him stupid, which is a form of verbal abuse. Liam was called stupid, and that he kept re-echoing. He quickly absorbed that word stupid. Yeah. And being the echolalic person he kept on repeating that word stupid. Oh, it's over, stupid. Because obviously he has already absorbed that into his memory. And then we have emotional abuse. That alone has affected his self-esteem as a person.
Yes.
Anything you want to add to that?
No, I think we have physical abuse, verbal abuse, and emotional abuse.
Okay.
That's the very major abuse we consider.
So let's move to the fourth question. It says, reflecting on what you have learned, what is the supportive evidence indicated that abuse may have occurred?
The first supporting evidence is from the community
witness,
member. The witness.
So she witnessed him pulling his arm,
saying stupid. It's an evidence.
And she quickly called the manager of the group residential program to report. So that's the number one evidence that abuse have occurred. And then the next one is Liam repeating the word stupid. We already know Liam is autistic and is echolalic. So he repeating the word stupid, so obviously means he heard this word stupid, someone called him stupid. So that's a form of verbal abuse.
Okay, and the third one I can mention is Colin's nervous and behavior.
His nervous behavior,
he was showing guilt.
Yeah, he was nervous, he was anxious.
Anxious due to guilt.
And he kept interrupting the group manager without really giving his own side of his explanation. He was more interested in, what did Liam say? What did the community say?
And later he said, okay, let me explain what happened.
Okay.
So there is.
Then he just gave a vague description. I was talking about the basketball game and the stupid game they played, which obviously we knew it wasn't actually what happened. And so now we go to the next question. It says, reflecting on what you have learned, what should the manager do with regards to Liam, Colin, and the community member? Explain thoroughly.
Okay. For Liam, we need to check for abuse on Liam's body due to the pulling and every other stuff. We check the body. Then secondly, on Liam, we make sure that every community outings are properly documented for proper supervision.
Yeah. And then for the community member, I would say, first of all, she did a good job by reporting what she saw. I would say the group manager should first of all appreciate her, acknowledge what she did and show gratitude, and also encourage her to make, in case of in future occurrences, she should also always make a report where necessary, wherever this happens, to prevent future occurrences, and encourage participation from the community as well.
Then for callings, it needs to be reported to the police.
Yeah.
The case needs to be reported to the police for
because
proper investigation.
There's zero
and,
tolerance on
accountability.
Zero tolerance on any form of abuse. The first thing first is to report to the police.
Then secondly, seeing what happened, I think there should be a proper training in the group home to the staff.
Calling should be retrained on the ethics and then the policies regarding abuse in the home. And so to follow the proper code of ethics, first of all, calling should be reported to the police for proper investigation. And then this brings us to the last question. It says, what should the service agency do as a next step? Explain thoroughly your recommendations.
Okay, the first recommendation I will give is staff to train the staff on abuse prevention, which is very necessary. They need to get the proper training so that it won't occur again. And secondly, I can say they should teach their staff on how to properly document every activities.
Exactly.
Every activities and procedure in their group homes is very necessary and important.
And make sure every event is well documented in the logbook to prevent future occurrences. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
This brings us to the end of our case study of Liam. I hope you learned a lot on how to prevent issues of abuses. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.